Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today I wanted to give one tip for every single Dota rank. Basically just gonna go from a Herald to Immortal and just kind of talk about one thing literally for each and every rank that you can kind of focus on, put all of your attention on for at least some period of time, a week, 2 weeks, whatever it is. Knock it out, and it's really gonna help you improve. So without further ado, let's get into it. By the way guys, if you want to become absolutely broken, well, what you need to do is sign up to the GameLeap website down below right now. The reason why you should do that is because every single day we post a new video there. Content that you simply just will never get on YouTube, we post every single day to the website. It's really top tier stuff. I'm very proud of what I make over there. We also have other creators, many of my great friends who are top tier Dota players, creating guides about different heroes, different roles, different items, skill builds, talent builds, everything you need to know to get to the next rank. So if you feel a little bit lost, you're a little bit stuck, click the link down below. I'll see you guys there. And now let's get into the video. Alright, for Herald, I'm not gonna lie, I had to start with this. Like, I was going through the points and I left Herald for last. I'm like, okay, what do I want to talk about for Herald? And I was thinking about like, okay, anytime I've like talked to Herald players, I genuinely feel like the biggest issue is mentality. Unless it's a new player, okay? If you're new, you just gotta play the game more, alright? Just start spamming the game, take all the points from this video, knock them all out, alright? But assuming you've been stuck in Herald, you gotta take some damn responsibility. And like, the problem is, I know that me even just saying this does not resonate a lot of the time, because it's like, if you get stuck that low in MAR for that long of a time, it's frankly, you're the problem, all right? You're the problem. You gotta take some responsibility. Like, I know in life it can be really hard to do that, especially when everything around you just feels like uncontrollable, but that's like kind of it's like the shittiest and best part of life. You can have so much control and impact on your life, but it's like overwhelming, right? So it's much easier just to shit on everyone else and take no responsibility, but you don't get anywhere and you kind of just get upset and bitter and angry at the bottom. So I wanted to start with that. This is not going to be primarily a mental video, but frankly, I feel like it's a good place to start. Next up is Guardian. And honestly, like, I watched a Guardian game just today, earlier today, and I think the highest CS in minute 20 was like 110. I was just like, what? 110? And like the amount of times where a 5-on-5, 5 heroes against 5 heroes in the top lane would happen, literally all together, was insane, because 80% of the map, 11 minutes into the game, was not being farmed. Literally 80% of the map. Guys, 80% of the Dota map is like the equivalent of getting, I think, like almost 2 rampages early game, unironically, if you were able to farm that much of the map. You get the point, right? It's like, you gotta learn how to have the discipline to select fights. Now, that is not the point I want for Guardian. I kind of just want to let you guys know that you should put a priority on learning to essentially value creeps, value the map. Don't just look at Dota as a fighting game. Is it more fun that way? Yes, go play Turbo, right? You know, like, I actually love playing Turbo when I don't want to like worry about splitting the map and like try-harding in side lanes and, you know, like really playing for efficiency and stacking camps. Turbo's great. It's fantastic. So in that regard, if you're looking to practice your fighting, it's a great game mode. Nonetheless, let's move on to Crusader. So for Crusader, this is a more clear point. This is something more niche you can really focus on, but it's huge for me. And that is, when you win a fight, do not run down the side lanes. Kind of on the same note of the Guardian point on getting last hits. What people do is they win a fight and they think, okay, we're ahead, or we just got an advantage, let's push the nearest tower. And the problem is, they will do this regardless of circumstances. The enemy team could be respawning on 4 heroes in 10 to 15 seconds, and yet they'll walk up to the tower with no ultimates, low resources, and even sometimes no siege hero. And frankly, almost every single time that happens, it's a grief. So, you might be thinking, oh, but Speed, I know not to do this. Maybe you didn't, and there you go, you should just focus on it. But, oh, Speed, you know, I know not to do this, but my team does it anyway. Guys, if you win a fight in a side lane and you farm to mid, you will be top net worth every game by a freaking long shot. Then it's just up to you to be the most impactful hero in the game. Then, after that, after you've gotten all this net worth, you just have to be good enough at team fights where you can use that net worth to execute an enemy, instantly get a pick off, instantly get a kill, survive a gank, bait better, whatever it is, you know, depending on what hero you're playing. Please keep that in mind. Don't run down the sidelines. For Archon is Roshan. Can't stress this one enough. Honestly, I could have moved this up to Divine. I'm going to be real with you. I could move it up to Immortal. Roshan is the most ignored objective in the game, and it's frankly the most important objective in the game outside of maybe the mid-tier one. Or the Ancient, I guess, if you want to look at it like that. But the thing is, Roshan has so many benefits, okay? And it doesn't mean you just Rosh every game. However, I would say, you know, this is some bro math here, or some bro stat. I don't have an actual number on this, but I would guess the average Roshan timer, first Roshan taken in Archon games. I wonder if this is a stat you guys could pull up. That I'd really be curious about it. The first Roshan taken in these games is, I would guess, around minute 22. And that might be generous. It could be more like 24. Your average pro game Roshan, you know, the thing is, like, if no one contested it like they do in pubs in a lot of situations, it would be taken at like minutes 15, 16. But considering it's contested, they can't do it as early. They will try though. If there's a TA or an Ursa, you'll see Roshan falling at minute 15, 16, 17 in a lot of games, very consistently. They kind of take it when they feel like they can. That's the point, right? They don't just like walk in, you know? And the thing is, for Archon, you have to learn to look at your heroes and say, we can Rosh. You have to learn to say, we can Rosh now. We need this item to Rosh, right? We need my TA to get Deso. Boom, I have a smoke in my inventory. TA gets her Deso, I smoke my TA. She doesn't have to think about the Rosh call. Bada bing, bada boom. We've got in a 16-minute Deso D-Lance on my TA. She can go own the game now, and I've made the call. And it's completely role unreliant. You do not need to be a support to do this. It does not matter. And if the enemy team does contest you and you are winning the game, you can force a fight in an open area rather at a tower, which is what most players do around this level, like the last point I mentioned. All right, getting into Legend, I want to talk about splitting the map, or learning to split the map. Now, primarily what I mean by this is, in particular, when you are winning the game, splitting the map in the intention to basically shut down portions of the map from the enemy, right? So if you farm bottom and you are strong, let's say you're a Storm Spirit with Orchid, they can't farm bottom. That's important to note, right? And you could apply that to a lot of situations. Something to think about. Also, let's say you're playing Storm and you farm bottom, then you can TP into a fight. Especially if you go like a Kaya build, you don't need to be the setup hero, you don't need to be the initiator. Let's say you're playing Ember Spirit, you don't need to be the setup hero, you don't need to be the initiator. Most games, especially if you go a Maelstrom Bots-esque build with like Max Flame Guard, Max Slight, you're not the setup, you're the cleanup, you're the, you know, of course you can be the setup, Dota's a crazy game, but in general, you're gonna be this guy who wants to snowball, who wants to farm, get big. You need to learn to split the map and look for an advantageous fight, okay? What does that entail? An item timing on a carry, a level spike on a support. It could be level 6, right? TP into that. Maybe your Bane got a, you know, grip and he's set up mid. Okay, you can TP in. The thing is, you can't just group all the time. You can't fight all the time. And I know a lot of players, a lot of Legend players don't do this, but there's a lot of layers to learning to split the map. Not only is it what I just said there, but when you're losing, okay? When you're losing, most players will instantly defend and instantly TP back to every single tower. Literally. Instantly TP back and instantly defend every tower. Constantly. Over and over and over again. And it's so bad. It's awful because you're completely giving up the opportunity to force a TP to a side lane, create a 4v5 situation that you can then TP into and win the game for your team. Just based on that, right? Or just the ability to farm your next item. I was doing a coaching session recently. I think the rank was around 3k-ish. I think it was around Legend. The player was like 800 gold from BKB, TPs into a fight. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And it happens all the time. Don't get baited. Learn to split the map. Watch how pros do it. Continue to digest that concept. Ancient! This is a big one for me. So this is like very, very difficult to do. If you are Ancient, you're not synergizing in lane nearly enough. Man, the thing is, even in the Immortal bracket, you can tell, like I can clearly tell almost always when I'm laning with like a rank 50, like position 4, because I play mostly off lane. So I can really tell when I'm laning with like a rank 50 Immortal or a rank 300 to 500 to 1000. It's very apparent because the synergy and their understanding of what they need to do to enable me is just a step ahead always. On top of that, the high Immortal players will double deny with me consistently. They'll secure the range creep without me having to say anything. They will pull creep aggro for me, okay? they are constantly synergizing. And synergizing doesn't always just mean casting your spells at the same time. However, even just that is brutally important. If you're playing Wraith King Jakiro and you can cast your stun and nuke on the same person, they're gonna take like double the damage than they usually would from casting them individually, right? So like that's brutally important in and of itself, something to work on. But also double denying, right? Zoning, if you're, let's say the safe laner, casting Dagger as PA on the position 4 so that your position 5 can play better. You know, if you're the position 1, you're playing Naga, sending illusions because the position 4 is a ranged hero. They can be zoned out. Synergize with your teammates. Think about what they need. If you're playing with a Timber Saw, okay, give that guy a good start. If he skills reactive armor, secure his range creep. If he skills his W, you don't necessarily have to secure the range creep, but he's squishier. So then you should zone the position 5. Give him a 1v1. Do you see how there's so many layers to this? Why there can be a big difference between even a rank 50 Immortal and a rank 300 Immortal, let alone a rank 50 Immortal and an Ancient player. You have to understand that there are layers, and you are not nearly as good as you think you are at adapting to the situation. So think about synergizing in lane. Divine! Adjusting your gameplay to the timings of the enemies. Okay, so there's like... Man, this is where it gets like really vague and difficult. And, you know, by the way, guys, you can apply every point I've mentioned for any role to your own gameplay. Don't feel like, you know, you really have to limit yourself. I just wanted to kind of give people something to lock in on that more so fits their bracket. But either way, Divine, adjusting your gameplay to the timings of enemies. Okay, so what does this mean? Well, there's a couple of main examples I'd like to go over. Number one, let's say you're playing against a Storm, okay? You're playing against a Storm. What should you be worried about? A potential when Orchid. What timer, guys? What's the first timer that comes into your head? When does Storm get Orchid? If you can't tell me, you're not good enough. You know what I mean? Like if you don't have a good vibe of that, it's gonna kill you. And the problem is, a lot of people can answer that question. Like the first step is being able to answer that question, which is like knowledge in and of itself. The second portion of that is then being able to actually apply it in game. Because people will tell me, and I'll have coaching students that, man, they're smart. They know a lot about Dota. But then when it comes to end game, I have to remind them of everything. I have to keep updating them on things, right? Saying, Storm might have Orchid, you can't push down this lane, things like that. It's about being able to apply it in the game. That is why the point is adjusting your gameplay, not learning the timings of enemies, because a lot of people know them at this point. Adjusting your gameplay, looking at the enemy team comp at minute 1, 5, 10, constantly thinking, are they gonna be close to an item, a level spike? Right, there's layers to this. Once again, let's say it hits minute 10 and you're playing safe lane Monkey King and the enemy team has a Bane or a Nyx and it's minute 10:30 or 11. You need to fear the gank, especially at these high levels, the smoke gank. Every game I play support, when I hit level 6 on like a huge portion of heroes, I click a smoke. It's an easy concept, but you have to be able to dodge those timings. On top of that, right, as I said, there's the Orchid Storm, so you have to adjust to that. Even something like Blink, right? Let's say it's a Blink on Axe. When is Axe gonna get his average Blink? Minute 13 to 14 when he's having a good game, when he's having a shit game, minute 17, 18. A really, really good Axe game, minute 11, 12, right? And this is with Vanguard. So it's just one of those things where you kind of have to be able to apply it in game to the best of your ability. And that's the first step. Now, maybe one of the most difficult things for me is not actually looking at the enemy, funny enough, but for Immortal, it's actually looking at the timings of your teammates. So recently I was playing a turbo game and I had an AA on my team and I had to like basically convince this guy to smoke with me instantly when he hit 6, right? And you might be like, oh, that's just microing your team. I shouldn't have to do that. And like to some extent, yeah, you don't. But at the same time, guys, my biggest strength as a player that almost no one else has is my ability to look at my teammates and say, what combination of heroes makes us ridiculously powerful? Because in Dota, singular heroes are generally not that powerful. However, once you combine two, you have these like ridiculous combinations of heroes. For instance, let's say you have a Hoodwink, right? Hoodwink, okay, you can do like 800 damage. Hoodwink AA, you kill anyone that's like 2k HP or below, right? It's like way more than a double, almost always, because of how the heroes work. The AA is going to be able to get off his cold feet stun, all of Hoodwink's spells are amped by the AA. The Shatter Blast from the AA ulti is most definitely going to go off. Like, it's crazy. And AA is a big +1 hero, so it's a pretty easy example. But, you know, there's so many more situations like this, right? For instance, if I'm playing Viper, okay, this is not like a gank hero, but if I'm playing Viper and I have an Oracle on my team, I might tell him to sit behind me, right? I might tell him, hey, I want to push this tower, come here. Or I'm playing Nature's Prophet. How hard is it for Nature's Prophet to live? Very hard, right? He's super easy to gank. So when I'm playing Prophet, what do I have to constantly do? Why am I so good at this hero? It's because I'm always thinking about what combinations of heroes do I need to enable a kill. Because with Prophet, you always usually need 1 or 2 because you don't add that much until you have certain timings, right? And so that's the big thing. As you get better, the first step is to think more about the enemies. How do I counter the enemies? How do I avoid the enemy spikes? How do I punish the enemy weaknesses? And then when you get really, really good, you even think like, oh, okay, when is my Medusa gonna get her Scotty? The enemy team has a Luna. When's my Medusa Scotty? The enemy team has a Sniper. When's my Medusa Scotty? Right? Literally stuff like that. If you can actually apply that, man, and like at the right time, you're deadly, really. But all right, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Hope these points will play well into the new patch. You know, the thing is, I like making this video right now because the patch is coming in like what? Hopefully, I think they said Wednesday, right? Hype. Get hype. You know, I'm super excited. But this video will definitely help you own the new patch. If you can find a good hero to play, find something you're comfortable on, spam that, and focus on some of these points, you are going to own. Nonetheless, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and I'm out. Peace.
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the Game Leap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.